Yo, what's going on, guys? Bexio back, and today we got a brand new video on Bitcoin yet again because there's some data that I think people are missing, and we're gonna go over that. But first, I want to go over the price chart because we are seeing a little bit of a move here. This nice green candle starting and approaching $51,000. So short-term goal is to get over 51,080 to set a new higher high. I don't think it's an immediate problem right now, but if we don't get above here, we probably could revisit 49.3, which, I mean, not huge moves here because this was big resistance, so should be or hopefully be turned a big support, as well as 47,000 is a big support right now as well. So even if we drop, the worst it would be is to 47, but hopefully it would stay around 49. Best case would be probably getting over 51 here and then running all the way to 52.5 for some resistance on this channel line here. And then seeing it come down, maybe reach out this 50,500 place before trying to ultimately take off, go into this. I guess this would be the resistance, this line here for the channel. Otherwise, breaking through this and just rallying straight to 58, 59,000, reaching that 60K. That's a big level, and then just plummet or rising to new all-time highs, not plummeting. Hopefully, we are done doing that for some time. But the price looking good. I think that we are within maybe a month of new all-time highs. And finishing the year very strong at that six-figure level. And this is a great video for Bitcoin, talking about how just everything trends to zero against Bitcoin pretty much. Bitcoin just the greatest asset in the world. It's the most scarce asset. It's just doing the best at separating what money is and giving power back to the people for their financial freedom and getting able to do that. So this guy, he has a lot of good points and just an interesting video all around.
Bitcoin represents hope. We need Bitcoin. If we don't have Bitcoin, we're absolutely fucked. But what most people care about is the financial case for Bitcoin. And at the end of the day, Bitcoin is the most scarce asset that has ever existed. There has never been anything more scarce than Bitcoin. And the overwhelming majority of people have not realized that yet. So if you don't have a Bitcoin accumulation strategy, if you don't have a strategy that involves being able to hold your Bitcoin through chaos without it getting taken away from you, you're not going to have a fun time. You need to get on that right now, because as far as I'm concerned, every single other asset will trend to zero against Bitcoin long term. Whether that's the Chrysler building, whether that's your favorite shitcoin, whether that's Apple stock, it's all going to trend to zero in terms of Bitcoin. It'll still have value, but it'll have much less value when you compare it to the purchasing power of Bitcoin. So I think every single person, especially young people, should be focused on trying to accumulate as much Bitcoin as possible and learn how to use it with privacy best practices. Otherwise, it could be taken away from you in the future.
So Bitcoin is hope. That's a big Michael Saylor thing to say. He's always been saying that Bitcoin is hope, and he's been all about that. But what he says is completely right. Have a accumulation strategy for Bitcoin, whether it's $10 a week or $10,000 a week, something to make sure that you're accumulating Bitcoin, getting it in your wallet, and making sure that you're securing some for the future, because everything is going down in value against Bitcoin because of how scarce it is. All of these great performing assets like Tesla stock and Apple stock and all this stuff all trend down against Bitcoin, although they are massively up and made people lots of money. Making Bitcoin is a lot harder than making, dollars. And even this reply is a pretty good reply. Get your Bitcoin off exchanges. So for people who are newer, I think it's fine to leave your Bitcoin on exchanges, but you should really try to set an amount, whether it's a quarter Bitcoin, half a Bitcoin, full Bitcoin, 10 Bitcoin, whatever it is that you want to set, to put in cold storage so that it's secure and make sure it's there. And then you can use other Bitcoin in like hot wallets on BlockFi and stuff to earn some interest and do that way. But make sure you have some or the majority of it stored away to make sure it's safe and nobody can control it except for you. Now, on to the data that might be showing us that Bitcoin is about to absolutely explode, is that the volume for Bitcoin has been amazing. $28 billion on a weekend. This is weekend trading. It's a little bit harder to do these numbers, but I have screenshots of stuff from Thursday, Friday, where it was over $41 billion. We had 38 billion, 39, 40 billion, basically all last week. And when you combine that with the price or with this trend, this is the Google trend for Bitcoin. So search terms you see was at 100 all-time highs at the beginning of the year when Bitcoin started pumping, nearing when Bitcoin was hitting all-time highs. It was at all-time highs again, and then the Bitcoin crashed and the interest plummeted from retail investors, and that's to be expected. But when you compare that, the plummet, we are literally at the lowest point, 26. You'd have to go back to December 6th through the 12th to get a lower score. So basically before Bitcoin rebroke all-time highs and started a rally to get to this interest right now. And combine that with this volume, I mean 28 billion on a weekend is pretty good. It's been 35 to 40 billion last week every single day. That's a ton of volume, a ton of money being moved. And when you are looking at that and thinking about where that money is coming from, it has to be coming from big institutions, big players, people that have lots of money getting involved in this. So we've seen a lot of people hiring for Bitcoin positions like Walmart. There's some hedge funds. I think Amazon had one in there. So a lot of these companies are hiring for crypto positions, Bitcoin positions, getting that all ready to go. So I think we're going to have some massive announcements come this next few months. Maybe during earnings, there'll be bigger announcements. Once that happens, we will see bigger interest in, retail investors. If we see this spike back up to the 100 or 90s even, and getting more interest from retail people, that's more FOMO and stuff, you could see prices really start to move. And that's where like a six-figure Bitcoin isn't out of the question. And just comparing this, so the last time it was here at these levels for interest and then exploded, Bitcoin did about a 5x. It was about 10,000, rallied into like 20,000. So even if you say it did 3x to 60K, if Bitcoin does a 3x now, that's 150,000. So it wouldn't be crazy to think Bitcoin reaches 150 to $250,000. Be a massive pump from retail investors FOMOing in if Walmart, Amazon, all these big companies come out and say they actually were getting involved in Bitcoin and have been accumulating during this whole time where retail literally fell off and lost interest in Bitcoin. To finish this video off, we will finish it with Michael Saylor here, talks about gold and Bitcoin and his company's decision to go in Bitcoin instead of gold. He tweets this all the time, but it's just interesting to look at, saying if he chose gold instead of Bitcoin last year, it would have been a multi-billion-dollar mistake, because not only is the Bitcoin up 80%, gold is down 80% for the year compared to Bitcoin, and then it's just everything is just in Bitcoin's favor. Not only would it have cost him that money and that like treasury money, it would have cost him this 5%, for treasury money for security in gold. It would have cost him the million followers he has on Twitter, the massive billions of dollars that the stock grew alongside Bitcoin with the announcement, the support of Bitcoiners and the online community of crypto community and everything. That would have been the mistake. Not only the money, but losing the followers, notoriety, all of the money that came into the company because of Bitcoin. All of that would have been gone. And the treasury would have been down in value as well. It would have just been a terrible situation. But guys, that's going to do it for this video. Just some Bitcoin news, interesting little videos. Michael Saylor talks about Bitcoin all the time on Twitter. He's a great source to kind of get an idea of things that are going on and what he's doing with Bitcoin when he announces big buys. As always, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. See you guys in my next video.